Well, I brought quite a variety of songs today. Mom and Dad, growing up, they loved music themselves, and Dad played guitar. He also played mandolin and fiddle, and played a little banjo. He played in our church the whole time we were growing up, so I've got a tremendous background in gospel music. In fact, I was in a gospel band in the 1980s. We traveled around on a band bus and that kind of thing, and went around. We recorded a couple albums and all that. And Mom always played piano. In fact, when she was a little girl, she played piano so much in their house in a little town called Moundsville, West Virginia, where we were all raised. We were raised outside of the town on a farm, family farm. But she played that piano so much as a kid that she, tapping her foot to keep time, she tapped a hole clear through the carpet. So she would play piano and Dad would play guitar, and we were just raised with that. And they always listened to country music and to gospel music. And of course, us kids, all four of us, when we got into our teens, of course, we got into rock and roll. And we were kids in the 1970s, so some of the first rock and roll that we would listen to very much would be, you remember KC and the Sunshine Band and get bands like that. And then the disco craze got big there in the later 70s. And of course, we were fans of just all of those bands back then, Backman Turner Overdrive and Three Dog Night, loved Three Dog Night. And of course, like I said earlier, John Denver, Neil Young, all the different bands from back then. And of course, the country guys, Loretta. Mom was a big Loretta fan. Johnny Cash. I loved Johnny Cash. We saw Johnny Cash in 1968, and I remember it to this day quite vividly. So anyway, like I say, we lived out in the country, and Dad had a farm tractor when I was very little. And of course, as a tiny kid, those farm tractors seemed to be enormous. And I remember I must have been 4, maybe 5, something like that. I'd jump up on that tractor with him, and we'd ride out the road to this farm called the Crothers Farm. And he would take his tractor out there and plow their fields for them and do some mowing and stuff like that. So I remember those old memories. And Dad liked Cadillacs. He was not a rich man, but he could buy a used Cadillac and fix it up and get it running really well and everything. So he loved his Cadillacs. And I don't know, it was an interesting place to grow up out there on Lindsay Lane, out in the country where we did. We always had a pet, maybe a dog or a cat, and family nearby and all that kind of thing. It was just a lot of fun. But so anyway, I thought maybe I'd try this song. It's very, very country sounding. It's, I guess it is a country song, but it's called Life Long Ago. And it just kind of talks about growing up out there on Lindsay Lane, outside of Moundsville, West Virginia, just south of Wheeling, if you know where that is. It's kind of influenced by Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash had a guitar player named, his name escapes me at the moment, but Luther Perkins, and he would play in a very distinctive Johnny Cash way, with that click sounding. So that was one of the very first things I learned to do when I started playing guitar when I was a kid. And anyway, so this is a song, Life Long Ago. One of my earliest memories is riding on my dad's knee, driving down a dirt road on his old farm, all going out to plow some farmer's field. That was James Arness in the great Wild West, and he had an Elvis kind of smile. He put his family first, and he went to work to raise us all the best that he knew how. If I'd known then what I know now, I'd have thanked him more somehow. That was life long ago, and still I know it made me the man that I am now. Mom's hands were full with we 4 kids. You know she never had no rest, working day and night to raise us right. We thank the Lord she did her very best. Mom took her time with us every day. She was the first to teach us all to read. She was the one who made our house a home. She and Dad made a perfect team. If I'd known then what I know now, I'd have thanked him more somehow. That was life long ago, but still I know it made me the man that I am now. But life moves on and we keep going, and old man time turns the page, looking back to see what was to be. There are some things you only learn with age. It's been several years, been about 60 years I guess. Been 65 years since they said I do. Together they made a happy home, and their work paid off as we look back now. You know the harvest depends on what is sown. If I'd known then what I know now, I'd have thanked them more somehow. That was life long ago, and still I know it made me the man that I am now. I said it made me the man that I am now.
What a beautiful song.
Well, thank you.